guys, welcome back to the Leading Edge Cricket Podcast, episode 51. In the last episode, we brought you a 50th podcast special where we broke down our all-time favourite 11, and we've had heaps of great responses from you guys via Twitter and via YouTube of your favourite 11, and we're going to break them down today. I'm Rob, one half of Leading Edge Cricket Podcast, and today, as always, joined by the co-host of the show, Rich.
How's it going, dude? You alright?
Yeah, very good, very good. All nicely, in one breath, all the way through. I feel like my lung capacity is on the next level.
Well done you. Yeah, well, you never need to start again from that intro. I think you're a pro at it now, mate, honest.
I know, I actually should put together a bloopers list of the last 50 episodes because 3/4 of them, I end up going wrong and dropping four-letter words left, right and centre.
Yeah, don't do that, mate. You get in trouble for that. I've found out.
Awkward.
Awkward. Yeah.
Rich, I feel it's been a while since we had a chat. So quite a long time ago, you spoke to the podcast and you said, hey, look, your little cousin is in a position who's got inoperable brain tumour. And we put some details out there of what was going on, what your plans were, and how listeners of the show can get involved to help raise some funds. Because your family are trying to raise some money to try and get him to a point where potentially there could be something that could be helpful?
Yeah, he's going all right, mate. He's going all right. It was his birthday last week, actually. Bless him, he's 6 now. But he keeps being a little bit crook, to be honest. So he's not having the best of runs. But the family was starting to narrow down treatment options, so that there might be one somewhere potentially in America that we're looking at. But it's all a little bit. We're in that stage at the minute where we've raised a nice bit of money. We're up to about 150 grand, actually,
wow, that's
which
incredible.
is a great effort so far. And we're just starting to kind of waiting, really. We're in a little bit of limbo, just kind of making some decisions and what have you. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure we can share it again, can't we? The little the page to Just Giving, where we're raising some of the funds there. Obviously, a lot of stuff's been raised locally as well, and if anyone ever wants to share it or donate if they can, then obviously, always appreciated.
Yeah, so down in the description, guys, you'll see the link for the crowdfunding website to Little Liam, where there's been heaps of money raised, and thank you to the guys that have already sponsored Little Liam and put some money their way. It really is great, because little 5-6-year-old, massive Forest fan and inoperable brain tumour is really not a great position to be in. Rich, now you've gone away and you've done heaps of work on the side, as well as not just doing the podcast. You've done heaps of work for Little Liam to try and raise some money, such as the one that stands out for me is you actually got the whole of the town, about 20,000 people, to go yellow for the day.
Yeah, a lot of people put a lot of effort in on that one. Yeah, I mean, the guys coordinating at the top coming up with the idea was just one little part. But yeah, just loads of businesses and schools just had a yellow day on a Friday, and it's just one of those, isn't it? Dead easy, just chuck a pound in a pot, no drama.
Exactly.
And donate. So yeah, massive. It's really good. I mean, it's humbling. The town, Newark's not the greatest place in the world, but my God, it's humbling of how kind of big it's become, and how much people have helped and how much people have wanted to get involved. And we was taking some money to the bank the other day, a couple of buckets worth, me and my partner, and suddenly some bloke just said, "Oh, you're still collecting," and just emptied his pocket out.
Oh, nice.
With whatever coins he has. So it's really humbling. It does kind of make you look twice at the town. So yeah, it's all appreciated what's going on, and never wanted to be in this position to do this, and certainly not to be asking for money. But it's until this treatment's out there, then obviously we've got to keep doing it. So.
Yeah, exactly. No, you're doing a fine job, mate, and holding it together pretty damn well. So as we say, guys, description below, there's the crowdfunding. Anything that you can do, if everyone chips in $1, it's $1 closer to being somewhere nearer where they potentially could go and have some surgery to try and help. So much appreciated, and keep up the good work, Rich. And now moving in and out. So going into the cricket season in England. So we're breaking it down. We're getting right near T20 day. We're in the middle of September. We're getting right near T20 day. And interestingly enough, the transfer window in England is still hotting up. There's heaps of news going on.
It's buzzing, mate. What can we say? They're being inspired by English football, aren't they? Wheeling and dealing. But there's a few little bits and bobs knocking around, isn't there? And I think Essex is this week's Yorkshire. It seems like Yorkshire are the ones that are usually doing some business, but Essex are busy. So first off, Peter Siddle, he's signed a 2-year deal to be their overseas player for the next 2 summers. He's 33 at the moment. He's had a couple of spells there. Obviously, Knott's had him for a while, but I think it was a 3-year deal there. But I think we only had him for 1 year, and he kept getting injured. So all those bananas he eats or whatever it is on his healthy regime doesn't didn't seem to work that well. So yes, that's a nice move for Essex. Obviously, they're going to be seeing a lot more of Alistair Cook next season after he retired from international cricket. Meanwhile, they've released a couple of players as well. Asha Zaidi, a Pakistani-born all-rounder, and a player, no disrespect to him, but a player I've never heard of, Callum Taylor. So anyway, Peter Siddle's the big name on that one. Also, Murali Vijay started the tour, if you like, with India in the Test series, played a game or so, and then didn't get another shot. So the 34-year-old signed on for Essex to play the last 3 games for Essex, who are sat in I think they're about 5th at the moment. Certainly not going to win the league, and there's an outside chance. Well, they're certainly not safe, let's say. I don't think there's an outside chance of them going down. I think they'll be fine. But there is a potential. It's not mathematically impossible, let's say. So it'll be good for him to get a game. It'll be nice for him to prove that he can score a few runs over here as well after things not going particularly well with the Indian setup.
Yeah, no, 2 really strong signings. You put Siddle up there with guys like Jamie Porter bowling every single week. They've got a great spinner down there. They've got Ravi Bopara bowling a few overs. They're pretty damn solid. And then you go, we've got Alistair Cook for the season. We've got Murali Vijay. Seriously, this is going to be a team that you look at early doors and you go, it's a bit like Lancashire this year. We looked at Lancashire and we went, wow, their team's strong. Essex are going to be in exactly the same boat next year.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what it's all about. We talked about Nottinghamshire recently, didn't we? They've made a couple of signings with the batting. Duckett got himself some runs, Slater got himself some runs. You've got to strengthen. If players aren't doing it where they are, you've got to strengthen them. County cricket is all about now. Yes, we want to see young players get opportunities, and so young local players, but you've got to see the best players rising to the top and getting the opportunities. So, get them in. That's the only thing you can say, isn't it? And if it means that there's going to be a bit of moving around to get the players in the best teams and the best teams playing against the best teams, and therefore the quality of cricket improving, so be it.
Yeah, it's a hard job, really. If you put that in context, you're, project manager, you're not doing a very good job, mate, you're out. The next guy's already being scouted to come in. It's pretty cutthroat being a sportsman, especially a cricketer these days. Gone are the days where you can spend 15 years at a county and just kind of lull by on, being okay. You've really got to start performing.
Yeah, absolutely. There'll always be an opportunity to earn a few quid if you're a pretty good cricketer, but if you want to be, good to great and really, be at the top of your game playing top county cricket, maybe looking for international, honours, then yeah, you've got to be better these days, haven't you? So, if you want to go and play some club cricket, you get a couple of £100 on a Saturday, maybe that'll suit some of these people that used to kind of make more of a living in county cricket.
Yeah, definitely.
So, moving on to Lancashire, they have made quite an exciting signing, if I do say so myself. Now, quite a while ago in the history of this podcast, there's a certain chap that we really took a liking to, as we do. We have our favourites. One of them, Richard Gleeson. We did a little bit of a love-in on Richard Gleeson, didn't we? The Northampton, he's 30, but he's only played 22 first-class games. Bit of a late developer, played some minor counties, played some club cricket, but he showed that if you keep plugging away, there's always a chance. Lancashire have snapped him up. So he's going to be moving on to Lancashire from next season. I just think it's just nice to see how he's done it. It'll be nice for him as well. Northamptonshire, it's a decent county. They seem to turn over some really good players, but it'd be nice to see Gleeson make it up. I mean, make it that step up. He played on the North East South. He played for Lions. So onwards and upwards for him.
Yeah, no, good move for him. An interesting choice. So the Cricinfo article around this basically said there was lots of counties that were interested in some bigger counties, but he's chosen his home county of his birth. That's where he wants to go and play some cricket. And I suppose a lot of it always, the guy's 30. He's not got that much first-class experience, but that doesn't matter. It's more a case of how long is the contract going to be. This may well be a 3-year contract that he's gone, wow, yeah, I can get paid for another 3 years. Some of the other bigger counties might have been offering him 2 years. So it's kind of a bit of a stability choice potentially by him. But a very exciting player and just a lovely story. Everyone loves a bit of an underdog story, and getting someone coming through at the age of 28, 29 and then making his debut, it's incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you talk about Lancashire being his home county. He was actually working as a community coach for the Lancashire Cricket Board. That's not, they don't play for their counties, the guys that do this. I'm sure a lot of them are damn good cricketers, club cricketers. but you don't get playing first class cricket just because you're doing that. So it's amazing. He's gone from working at the Lancashire Cricket Board to playing for Lancashire, which is going to be incredible. He's had injuries this season. It's been up and down. Apparently, he still sits at the top of both Championship and the T20 averages with the ball for Northants. So he's certainly done his bit this year. Interestingly as well, he wasn't out of contract at Northants, but he did have a release clause that allowed him to come in if compensation terms were met. Apparently, Northants, not really in the best financial position ever, they actually put it out there that he was available, and Lancashire were happy enough to pay what would be quoted as a substantial payment to Northamptonshire. So it sounds like it's one of those moves where instead of we've done everything we can to try and keep the player, we're really disappointed he's left. This is a win-win-win for all three parties. So good on him. We will follow his career with interest. He's definitely one of. I think if we had to do a leading edge 11, I think he's probably in there on the guys that we just have an interest in. So good luck for him. But Northamptonshire, they've moved pretty quick in replacing one quick with another quick, Rob. Yeah, sorry. Do apologise. They've signed the awesome, brilliantly, amazingly named Blessing Muzarabani, Zimbabwean quick. He's only 21. He quit international duty recently and he wants to pursue this opportunity. So he signed a 3-year contract with Northamptonshire. Zimbabwe cricket is a bit of a shambles at the minute. We had the issue with all the unpaid players after the World Cup qualifiers. Bit of a nonsense. He was one of the 5 players that basically said, "Nah, we're not playing at the moment." No, apologies. No, that might not be this one. He's just quit. We're going to get onto somebody else in a minute. But yeah, he's just decided to walk away and just basically play. There's been too much uncertainty, and he wants to test himself at a better level. 6'6", big tall fella. Let's be interested to see how he goes. Like I say, he's just about to turn 22.
Yeah, interesting. I've always got a lot of respect for young people that turn the back and go, you know what, this is fundamentally wrong. I'm going to make a stand. And, he's not the first one. It's different, someone coming in from Zimbabwe trying to make this work. But you look at the South Africans that have come over the years and different countries that have made it work in England and got a really good career for them. So fingers crossed it works out for him. I don't know enough about him to go, oh yeah, he's a really good player, but he's obviously got something about him being 21 and have already played international cricket.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, the player I was thinking of who actually was one of the 5 that sat out after the dispute with Zimbabwe is Sikandar Raza. Now, he's a guy that has really started making a name for himself on the international stage. Really, really exciting player, all-rounder. Again, it was one of the standouts in the qualifiers where Zimbabwe just obviously fell short. So this is a weird situation. He's basically not been offered a new central contract by Zimbabwe Cricket. They allege that he breached condition. Basically, he's played overseas cricket in England, in club cricket, without a no objection certificate, which I assume international boards have to give if the player wants to play overseas. So anyway, he then applied for one. Obviously, there's a bit of an administrative cock-up, but then he was denied one. So it's all been a bit of a mess. He's basically just disappointed with it. So he's basically just said, look, he's still available. He's certainly not turning his back on it, but it doesn't seem like Zimbabwe cricket are wanting to play ball with us at the moment. Shambles. They need to sort themselves out. They started to look like they were really coming back onto the world stage after quite a few years in the wilderness. People like Brendan Taylor returning to play cricket for Zimbabwe, and it just doesn't seem like they can get the house in order. So hopefully this gets sorted out because he's too good a cricketer not to be involved. And to be honest with you, if they do turn their back on him, you've just seen what Blessing Muzarabani's done. Sikandar Raza would do a damn good job for a county in England, so they need to get the finger sorted out. Well, get the finger out, should I say, and sort this out pretty sharpish. Otherwise, they could lose a hell of a talent to overseas.
Yeah, it's just farcical, isn't it? It's time and time again they come up in conversation, and it's so frustrating because we remember the great. Air quotations a little bit, but the great Zimbabwean teams of the 90s, and the players, the Strangs, the Houghtons, the Flowers, they were a decent team.
The Flowers, the Heath Streets of this world, and there was some really solid cricketers, wasn't there? So it's just disappointing to see. We always talk about how we want as many nations as possible playing cricket and being competitive. And Zimbabwe were on the way back from they were a decent side for a while, and then they turned into a kind of just has-beens, didn't they? Or just nothing particularly, just complete shambles of a setup, and that obviously flows down, and the players left, and They're just starting to come back, and this is just sort your house out. I'm sure they're all listening, and I'm sure they'll take good notice on what I'm saying.
Sort your house out, bro. Sort your house out.
Too right. So that's there's a few more moves, isn't there? But I think that wraps them up for now. But I'm sure in the next couple of weeks there's going to be a heck of a lot more players moving from county to county.
So with all the county news that's going on at the moment, there is, of course, the 5th Test match, the final Test match of Alistair Cook's international career, taking place at the Oval, Rich. And we put out a tweet the other day going, OMG, I cannot believe this England selection dilemma. What the hell are they doing? Rich, tell us what is going on with this England lineup at the moment.
Nothing, mate. No, literally nothing. They went unchanged, didn't they, into this test, which is a bit of a surprise. They recalled Ollie Pope to the squad. I was thinking that they might actually recall Jamie Porter as well after he was sat twiddling his thumbs for the first 3 test matches before being kicked out. Adil Rashid has yet to bowl a ball. He did have a little bit of a bat, bless him, though. He faced 51 balls, so he's earned his match tax. It's a strange one that England decides to go unchanged. In a way, because of the Cook situation, obviously this being his last ever Test match, which of course we will make more of a deal about in due course. But because I think it's Cook's last one, I think it would be a little bit unfair to bring in another opener at this time. Maybe there was the talk, obviously, of Rory Burns, etc. But maybe it was sensible. The series is won. Give Jennings one more opportunity. See if he can actually make it as an opener, and also not to put the pressure on somebody coming in to open with Alistair Cook, who won't be there next time they strap pads on for England. So, maybe there's a bit of logic there. No changes to the bowling attack again, like we said. It's just a surprise that Rashid kept his spot. Inactivity. As for India, Vihari, Rob, what's his first name? Hanuma. Apologies, as always, for pronunciation. It's one of my favourite things to do is mispronounce touring team names. But Vihari has come in, as well as Ravindra Jadeja. We've been talking about him getting a game all series, haven't we? And he finally came in for Ashwin. And Vihari probably you would say is in for Pandya. A couple of changes there. Surprising to me, though, there was no other changes. I thought there might be one at the top of the order. Maybe a young fella called Shaw might have got a shout. But not as many changes as we expected coming into this game, Rob.
No. I really did hope that England were going to drop Jennings. I feel it's his time. The guy's played so many Test matches now. We put it out there on Twitter, and there was kind of a mixed response. So Jason Rotten, who potentially one of the writers for the website as well, he wants Jennings to be given more time. Paul Taylor, he thinks he's seen enough. Paul Taylor, he would think that. Now, Someone said drop him in, he said keep him in. Yeah, exactly. He's just there for a bit of niggle.
Sorry, Paul.
One of the things, and I want to see your opinion on this. So Simon Trafford came out and said, the problem is there's no obvious candidates to take over from Keaton Jennings. Rory Burns is the next man off the cab, but then we need to try and fill the 3 slot. Jason Rotten said, if Alex Hales could be enticed back, he would be my number 1 choice with Jennings at 2. So the great thing about this is that everyone's got an opinion about it, and we've all got different opinions. And that, in a way, kind of makes me feel a bit... It means that it's harder for the selectors than what it obviously is. There's no obvious choice for openers coming through. It's very, very hard. And sometimes, like we're across county cricket, and we want to see people called up, but we're not seeing them every day like some of the scouts are, to know if they're actually ready for international cricket. So giving Keaton Jennings this game, sure. If he fails in the second innings, surely that's time to cut ties with him?
For me, all along, I don't... Well, first off, I don't dispute that Keaton Jennings is a hell of a player. At county level, he scores a hell of a lot of runs. White ball, 50 over stuff. He plays well, he scores runs. I just don't believe he's got a technique that means that he will be successful over a long period of time for England opening the bat in Test matches.
Yeah.
That's where I come from with Jennings. Nothing I've seen from him first time round, nothing I've seen from him this time round tell me that I should change my mind. And that's not to say that he's not a very, very good batsman, but I just don't believe he's got what we need, or what people need to be a success opening the batting, and that's the key: opening the batting in international cricket. As for where we go with this, I've got no idea.
Yeah.
Rory Burns appears to be the next guy. I didn't, we spoke about it before. I didn't realise what a just sensational record he actually has. A consistently sensational record, scoring runs over a long period of time. Why he's not been given an opportunity, that's a big question. There's got to be something there that the selectors over a period of time, obviously a selection policy has changed now and the personnel making those decisions has changed, but there's something there that obviously people haven't liked. Seeing as though about another 97 openers have been used, it feels like, in the last 10 years, or 5 years, should I say. So who knows? I mean, geez, one of these guys could go out there and have a really good, go and get some winter sun somewhere and just, turn his arm over or score a few runs playing beach cricket. And these selectors might think that that's enough, considering the selections of Adil Rashid and Josh Butler, which obviously Butler has proved it to be a right selection. But the way they make their decisions doesn't fill me with faith. Sometimes if decisions come off, maybe let's give the players the credit for that. They've taken their opportunity. But the selection doesn't seem to be particularly consistent or thorough at the moment. So I've got no idea where we're going to go with this. I think end of this season, when the season's well out of the way and we're looking at squads for Sri Lanka, might be the good time to have a chat about it in more depth, really. But it's such a tough one, isn't it? There's a few young blokes knocking around, isn't there? Joe Clarks, the Nick Gubbins of this world. And I think we've got to invest in one of the young fellas for either an opening spot or the number 3 spot. And it's going to be huge, isn't it? But I really would like it. In a way, sorry, Keaton, but I really would like to see 2 brand new openers, a new partnership brought in. And number 3, who knows? Moeen Ali might nail that spot down for the winter.
That was going to be the segue out. So you started talking about number 3. What are your thoughts on Moeen Ali at number 3?
I think I mentioned it in the last game. I didn't really like the idea of it, but I think it was Jonathan Agnew did make the point that actually, we're going to Sri Lanka first this winter. Maybe someone like Moeen Ali would actually be quite a useful number 3 over there. I don't know. It's one of those. Who knows? I like Moeen Ali, but where are we going to fit all these guys? We keep talking about, we've got Bairstow, Butler, Stokes, Ali. They're all pretty much suited to bat at about anywhere between 5 and 6, 5, 6, 7. Probably in teams, you'd probably all put them down at 6, wouldn't you? So where do you bat them? You've got to find spots for them if you want them in the team. And if Ali is your number 1 spinner, we're going to have to play 2 spinners in Sri Lanka. Yeah, you've got to get him in somewhere. So maybe it solves, or at least delays a problem.
I think you've hit the nail on the head there, mate. It delays the problem. I think it's a horses for courses selection for a subcontinent series. Don't think you'll see him batting at number 3 come the start of the next English summer. But
I would agree.
I think for now it's probably enough. And the problem is the top 6 is so dysfunctional and so bad. It's not any worse than what's already there, right?
No, exactly. I mean, we're not looking at the top 6 making runs anymore, are we?
No.
I mean, there is Butler and Curran. It's our 7 and 8 that we go, now 7 and 8's in, now we're going to score some runs.
It is. So I feel like we should take a bit of time to look at the Indian squad as well before we get into the first couple of days' play, Rich. And a few bits of movement going on there as well.
With who is that, sorry?
With the Indian. There's some movement going on within the team. So we've already touched on Jadeja and Vihari's come in. Now, what do you make of these moves, especially with the guys going out? So we saw Ashwin go out and we saw Pandya going out. Ashwin, I thought, had been pretty good all series, minus the last game. And Hardik Pandya was, absolute integral part of the one game that they actually did win.
Yeah, it's a difficult one, but it is the 5th test that, it is obviously an England series win. So I would have liked to have seen more change in the teams, to be honest with you. So, and it is just freshening things up. It's not a reflection of Ashwin why Jadeja's come in. I think it's probably just, he has had a couple of niggles, hasn't he? And they've probably just thought, Jadeja, he's almost 30, isn't he? He's not a young fella coming on tour. So give him a game. He's probably, I assume he's been a good guy around the camp. He deserves a game of cricket. So, get him in. As for Vihari, it was a great opportunity, wasn't it, to give someone a debut? Was this his debut or yes, it was, wasn't it? It was international debut, isn't it? So yeah, great opportunity to give him his debut. And like I said before, I think it's a surprise that BP Shaw didn't get his call up as well. Yeah. And maybe one of the bowlers. This bowling unit of India, they've toiled away. They've played pretty well as well, haven't they? Bumrah came in a little bit later, but Sharma and Shami have played all the games. Maybe it would have been a nice opportunity. It would have been a difficult one to convince those blokes of, but maybe you could have said to Shami or Sharma, sit this one out and we're going to give, Thakur a go, or we're going to give one of the other blokes a go. There's things they could have done, isn't there? But I don't think it's a reflection on the blokes that have sat out. I think Pandya's done pretty well. And Ashwin obviously is a class act. So I think it's just more just shaking things up and giving people a couple of players a game of cricket.
Yeah, no, interesting. So talk us through, Rich. Talk us through day one, because day one, I'm going to start this off by England won the toss and batted, and it is exactly everything you would expect to see from a day one England batting in a test match.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, early doors. I mean, England did okay, didn't they? 60 on the board after 23 overs, and relatively steady going, but it wasn't too bad. They were relatively untroubled. But yeah, Jennings was dismissed, first wicket down. Jadeja is straight into the game, got himself a wicket pretty much out of nowhere as well, wasn't it? Rahul again with another catch, breaking records with his hands this year is Rahul. But yeah, Jennings went for 23, a watchful 23 off 75. Only found the rope twice. Bit of a disappointing one. But then after that, England were pretty good again. Alistair Cook was joined by Moeen Ali, and this was the most watchful and pedestrian, and said in the nicest possible way, knock from Ali that I think we've seen ever in his international career. It was certainly not the usual Moeen Ali. But it was great to see Alistair Cook make some runs as well. He got himself out on 71, cleaned up from Bumrah. It would have been lovely for him to get himself 100, but he played pretty well for that. A long old knock, over 3 hours at the crease, so that was nice for him as well. But then after that, it just all seemed to go wrong, didn't it? 133 when Cook left 2 down. 2 wickets went for 1 run. Yeah. Root went sharpish, 3 balls. Bairstow went sharpish, 4 balls. His second duck in two test matches, isn't it? No, 3 and 3, isn't it? Because he got the first ball at Trent Bridge as well, didn't he?
Yep.
So he's struggling. Stokes only got 11. But then we got Ali together with Buttler. Ali went before the end of the day. Buttler got himself going. And then Buttler took it into day 2, didn't he? If we can kind of just wrap up the England innings first. Buttler, I thought, was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. 89 in the end. He started opening putting his foot down and opening up a little bit. Got himself hit a couple of lusty sixes, and then suddenly slowed up again. This is when Broad was at the crease, and he got himself out. He was the last man out. Sam Curran, surprising him, only lasted 2 balls. Adil Rashid hung around overnight. He did pretty well, but got himself out this morning. I thought Broady did quite well. He's a brave knock from him. He's clearly doesn't fancy batting against the quicks anymore. But he was brave. He hung around for a while at both sides of lunch and got himself 38 and helped England up to a score of 332, where, to be honest, a lot of points towards the end of the first day, I'd have been delighted with about 200, 220. So I thought it was a really good turnaround from England. But that middle order, it's not worth talking about much at the moment, is it? It's just damn frustrating.
It's very frustrating, mate. 123 for 1 at tea on day 1. To 198 for 7 at the close. So you just know it's right around the corner, don't you? It's like, oh yeah, stability, yes, stability. And it's like being a payday millionaire, that first weekend you're rich, you go out, you spend all your money and you live like a pauper. That's England. They've feasted for 2 sessions, and then the 3rd session they're all blown out, they've got meat sweats, and they just get rolled over by this Indian team. It's so frustrating to watch every single time. Some of the dismissals really grind my gears. Keaton Jennings getting caught at leg slip. England have the most wickets caught at leg slip over any other country in the last 2 years of playing cricket. 12 catches at leg slip. Honestly, growing up, how many times did you see a catch at leg slip?
Not many. I remember Australia over here a couple of years ago seemed to get a few down leg slip. Few Englishmen, so maybe it's an English disease.
Yeah, it's English playing spin. So Joe Root's on a horrendous run of form. Johnny Bairstow's trying to play like Johnny Bairstow does, but he's got a broken finger, man. Why? The guy's got a broken finger. The Test match doesn't, in theory, mean anything to the series. Why bring Ollie Pope back into the squad just to sit there? Why not go, Johnny, rest your finger, get ready for Sri Lanka, you're our number 1 man, Ollie Pope, come in and have a game. Frustrates me. There's no need for him to be putting himself on the line for this England team, but kudos to the Indian bowlers. They were very good again. Bumrah 3 and Sharma 3. But Jadeja, how many times in this series did we go, why aren't they playing Jadeja? Why did they play Kuldeep instead of Jadeja? Jadeja's a world-class performer, proven time and time again. Why wait until the 5th Test match when the series is gone to bring the guy back in?
Yeah, exactly. 4 for 79 on 30 overs. Everybody's figures look pretty good, though, let's be honest, in this one. You know, 2.76 was the highest economy rate, and that was Bumrah, 3 for 83 off 30 over. So really, really good stuff from the Indian bowlers. A little bit frustrating towards the end. I think you've got to give credit to Josh Buttler, you've got to give credit to Stuart Broad. They were unlucky as well. Shami, none for 72 off 30. That does not do him justice. You know, he bowled brilliantly for somebody that did not pick up a wicket. You know, Mikey Holding was talking about maybe he was just bowling a little bit too short, as in he wasn't trying to bump people's heads off. He was just bowling a fraction back. Probably needed to be a little bit fuller to really, really take advantage of the swing he was getting. But it was a pretty good, effort from India. And I think at that point, I think you've probably got to say it's a 50-50, 1-1, whatever you want to say. It's pretty even, isn't it, at the end of that England innings? 3-3-2 is not a bad score, but it wasn't the worst pitch in the world, but it didn't look overly easy. So maybe you could say England just shaded it at the end of the first innings. But as they always say, you got to wait until both teams have had a bat, haven't you? And then we can start saying what the pitch is like. And India have made a bit of a balls of it today, haven't they?
They have, mate. Talk us through it. So I haven't seen any of this. I had, incredibly, any dads out there, my baby slept through till 6 a.m. That was incredible. I've had the most sleep I've had in about 4 months. I feel awesome. I'm full of coffee, and I'm full of beans till about 5:30 when I crash again.
Yeah, so I'm going to nod off in a minute, and Rob's just going to talk at you for about 5 hours just to make up for it. India. So KL Rahul, Shikhar Dhawan opening the batting. Dhawan, 1.1 overs into the innings, he's gone. He's LBW. He's bowled Broad. Bit of a close decision, but it looked out. Darwin it looked like he was about to review it and then realised he was out of seconds. I think, was it 15 seconds they're allowed?
Yeah.
And it was timed by 18 seconds when he was about to make the famous tee. So he carried on walking. 70 for 2 when Rahul went. Sam Curran came on. He got the breakthrough. He got a beauty, just to hit the top of off. So KL Rahul will be frustrated. He was a little bit more attack-minded in this innings. Obviously, it's not gone perfectly for him, so he just made a conscious decision and decided to have a bit of a swish, and he was looking pretty good. So it was a shame he got a good one from his perspective. Pujara lasted a little bit as well. He was looking his usual self, 37 of 101 balls. He was gone 101 for 3, caught behind off Anderson. And then it was obviously, we get down to Kohli and Rahane, the guys that have really been, as well as Pujara, but Kohli and Rahane, the guys that have shown that they really can hang around. But Rahane didn't last long at all. He was gone, 8-ball duck, caught Cookie. Nice to see Cook get one more catch before he hangs up everything, hangs up literally everything for England. And then Kohli, I mean, I shouldn't enjoy this one as much as I did, but Kohli was gone on 49. Stokes got him, Root caught. Oh, sometimes it's just nice to see a hero like legend of a game go for 49. He just went after one. This was Kohli from the previous tour, not this year's Kohli, for the shot he made to get out. Vihari, he looked like he could not score a run. He had 2 off, I think, 29 deliveries.
Yeah.
And then suddenly out of nowhere tried to hook a short one which went over the ropes for 6 straight over the keeper's head. So he got lucky. He got very, very lucky as well with a not out decision of LBW, which England, bizarrely, with Broad bowling, didn't review. It was hitting the top of leg stump, I believe, if I've got it right, which would have knocked it straight out the ground. So they decided not to review it, but it would have been out if they did. But he's there on 25, not out overnight. Rishabh Pant came and went as well, and Jadeja is the man in as well, 8 off 10. One of those was a bit of a streaky nick. So India, they've struggled along really. 174 for 6, 51 overs so far. So run rate's pretty good as it has been in the game. Even when wickets were falling at the end there, they were moving at quite a decent rate. Obviously, there's a few maybe unintentional boundaries. But India will be really, I think, disappointed. You've got Rahul 37, Pujara 37, Kohli 49. You've got 3 starts in your top 4. You can't then. You just can't be 6 down at the close of play when that's what's happened. So I think really frustrating from an Indian perspective. Suddenly that 332 for England is looking like a monster score, and it'll be interesting to see what happens tomorrow morning. If they can get one more wicket, then it's really into the open shop, isn't it?
Yeah.
Of the Indian tail. So we shall see how it goes. Jimmy 2 for 20, Brody 1 for 25, 2 for 44 for Stokes, and 1 for 46 for Curran. So Curran and Stokes, they're going at over 4s. And Moeen Ali had 2 spells at none for 29. Now, I haven't forgotten anyone there, but you'll notice again that there's a certain Ali Rashid hasn't had a bowl. Ali came on, had 2 spells, but Ali Rashid has just done his bit in the field so far. So he'll be wondering why he's in the team again.
You know what? I was just about to mention that. I was looking at it, I was like, Adil Rashid hasn't bowled. How are you in Test match cricket carrying a player? It makes no sense whatsoever. Now,
stubbornness of selectors. That's my view.
It is. Now, I fully do expect him to tour Sri Lanka, where we're going to need 2 spinners. I expect him to be involved there after the subcontinent tour. I don't expect him to be in this England setup again. I find it really disappointing, the stubbornness and the selection process that they've gone through to get to this point. Very, very average by the selectors, but I think I've hit on them quite a lot. The moments of this innings that really tick out to me is Virat Kohli going for 49. That's quite incredible and a huge wicket. And I'm reading what happened here, and I've seen the highlights of the wicket. It's just, he's playing like a guy that's overconfident to me. I think I said it in the last Test match, the way he's just starting to play a little bit more away from his body. And that's exactly what's going on here. And he wants to get a decent score in the second innings of this Test match. He just needs to reel it back in again, respect the bowlers, and go back to what was working for him previously. But the Test match is nicely set up, mate. If India can do what England did, you've got a real cracker of a Test match on, where if their bottom 3 or 4 wickets can add some serious runs, it's going to be an interesting last 3 days cricket.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Jadeja is a bit of a counter-attacker, isn't he? If he just comes out and rides his luck and he can get himself a score, then that's going to take him somewhere. Vihari, he's in the team for a reason. The boy scores runs, doesn't he? He's 24. He's kind of getting towards the peak of his batting career or batting life, isn't it? Or, coming into the start of his peak, should I say. So who knows what those 2 guys can do? And then you never know. The tail can always have a swish, and before you know it, they can add another 50, 60, 70. So it is relatively finely balanced, but I think India will be disappointed. I think if England can get a couple of early wickets, I think they can finish this Indian innings by 200, 250 at the most, I think. And that's what England will be hoping for tomorrow morning. Coming back onto Rashid a little bit, I think the reason he's played all the games is because of the backlash and furore there was over his selection at the start of this series. I think that they've kept him in almost to make, not necessarily to make a point, but to kind of, I suppose it is to make a point a little bit, isn't it? It's to kind of say that, look, we needed him for this series, and we're going to, gosh darn, we're going to play him every game. That's what I imagine Ed Smith says. Looking at him, he strikes me as a sort of fellow that would say, gosh darn. So I think there's a bit of that. But talking about the winter, Adil Rashid will only be on that flight to Sri Lanka if he agrees that he's going to be playing more than just white ball cricket next year, because surely this needs to be put to bed before the next series starts. And why, if you're Adil Rashid, would you want to kind of, hang around and play Test matches if you're going to bowl maybe 5 or 10 overs in the second innings and do sod all else? So the selection is, I think, the reason why they've kept him in the side. Over, they could have easily played Pope in this game, couldn't they? Over Rashid, I don't think you needed him with Ali batting at 3. So it's a bit of a bizarre one. Will Rashid want to play? Who knows? Don't know. Do you know, Rob?
Who knows? I really, honestly, you would be surprised, do not know what the selectors are going to do, or Rashid's going to do. I've absolutely no idea. Now, I feel there's a segue in here somewhere along the line, and the question is, Rich. Mm-hmm. Would Adil Rashid make your all-time favourite 11 if you were to do one of the last few years?
No.
He wouldn't. That's a really average segue, but it takes us nicely into going through the breakdown of the World 11, and it's the favourite World 11 that you guys have come back to us on Twitter and YouTube. So we gave our teams last week, and there were some great names in there. There were people like Warney, there were people like Murali, Angus Fraser got an honourable mention, Stephen Fleming made it in there. It's really, really awesome, and everyone's got all these favourite things. So what we want to do here is we just want to spend a bit of time, and the guys that took the time to go, hey, this is my favourite team from the, forever and a day since I've been watching cricket. We want to break down some of your teams and go through them. So starting off from the top, we've got FM Newbie, who sent us a tweet ×5 to try and get his whole team in there and all the different reasons that was going on. So, Rich, what I'm going to do, I'm going to break down this team and I'm going to tell you who's in it, and then I just want you to add your 2 pence in there as well.
All right, go for it. Let's have it.
At the top, Michael Vaughan, elegant batsman with great timing. His opening partner, Marcus Trescothick, the basher. When the ball was hit, it stayed hit. What do you think of that opening partnership?
It was a great time, wasn't it? I mean, Vaughan used to bat at 3, didn't he? A little bit for England, but those guys, that was awesome. Get them 2 boys rolling together. Trescothick, big time, yeah. Vaughan, he's a cocky bugger, isn't he? So That's one. I'm looking ahead down this team, and I reckon there's going to be some problems in the dressing room. That's all I'm going to say. But yeah, solid. Can't criticise those two, really.
Yeah, very solid. One thing I'm going to say is all the different teams, it goes to show the age of the people that's listening to the show. Some are very, very modern, some are quite old school, and some are really old school. So it's really good to kind of get that different take. Number 3, Ricky Ponting, best number 3 ever, Mr. Dependable. Number 4, Sachin Tendulkar, what do I need to say here? Number 5, Richie's best mate, Kevin Peterson, one of the best batsmen I ever saw, especially in his early days in the Test team. There's the middle order. What do you make of that?
Well, yeah, Ponting. I mean, Ponting was a class. I mean, this kind of exercise for us, wasn't it? He's like, shall we do a best ever? And it's like, nah, let's do a favourite 11.
Yep.
And obviously you're going to put cricketers in there, aren't you, as well? So it's beauty's in the eye of the beholder, isn't it? And especially with a sport like cricket, some people want to see the Ian Bells of this world. Other people might think that Alistair Cook is the most beautiful batsman ever because he scores runs. So it's all about enjoyment, isn't it? KP, I understand why people like KP. I'm in any sport I get into, I just can't disconnect the character, the person, with the player. And that's all one for me. I can't look at it as someone and go, he's awesome. I don't care what he does off the field. He's just brilliant to watch. KP was awesome to watch, but he was just a massive dick. And that's why I can't have him in my favourite team. But that is an incredible top 5. Vaughan, Trescothick, Ponting, Tendulkar and Peterson. A top 5 where potentially Vaughan isn't in the top 2 of egos in that. No, maybe he is actually. Probably does think he's better than Tendulkar. But yeah, that's awesome. So what do we got next? What's that middle order and what's the bowlers?
Yeah, so middle order slot is 6. We've got Ben Stokes, the all-rounder, most naturally talented player ever, bowling and batting, and the wicket-keeper, Adam Gilchrist, another basher, but also a great keeper.
They're not going to hang around this team, are they?
They're not. They're actually not. It's like fully charge mode.
Exactly. They're going to have a good bowling team because you never know. One day they might be about 70 all out with all these boys, but another day they'll probably get about 1,000 for 2. So yeah, what have we got? Who's backing them up?
So opening bowlers, we've got Jimmy Anderson, greatest England bowler and best swing bowler in the world, and Glenn McGrath, Mr. Line and Length, best bowler of the generation, had a batsman running scared.
Now, you see, he's starting to get into his rhythm on this team now. Now we're talking. Now we're getting there. Glenn McGrath, I can get behind that one.
Good choices. First change bowling, I really like this. Simon Jones, second only to Anderson in the Swin Stakes. Injury ruined a promising career.
Yeah, we'd be looking back at him completely differently if he'd have played a bit more cricket. And if they'd have actually laid some proper grass at the Gabba back in the day and he hadn't have popped his knee out because of that stupid sand and whatever crappy grass they had. They have fake grass in Australia. They don't really have proper grass like we do. Something, it's just something to think about if anyone's ever thinking of emigrating to Australia. Grass is rubbish over there.
And then the spin slot, Shane Warne, my idol, wanted to bowl like him and bat like Peterson. They're not bad idols to have.
No, exactly. Well, Peterson used to twirl it a little bit as well, so maybe he could have batted like Peterson and bowled like Peterson. But yeah, that's a cracking team, isn't it? Warne, he's such a character, isn't he? Again, there's reasons he's not in my favourite 11, but my goodness, he was a hell of a player. Someone I just love watching. From the very first moment we all saw him over here, and I think we can just about remember the what was it, the Mike Gatting ball, wasn't it? So,
yes. Yeah,
awesome team that is, mate. Awesome. Yeah, I like that one.
Awesome team. So flicking down, we've got Andram Sahar, who came to us on YouTube. So he's not got the same. In fact, none of them have got the same wordings around it. It's literally a team. So his opening pair are Matty Hayden and Verinder Sehwag.
Ooh, love that. Absolutely love that. Hayden was in mine, wasn't he? So. Andrew, you're on to a good start. And Sehwag, I mean, you don't get much better than that, do you, as a player, as an entertainer as well. Although he does look scarily like a Bond villain or like one of them baddies off Indiana Jones when he's wearing them weird round glasses now. So that just a slight minus point for what he looks like now. But yeah, that's an awesome opening partnership.
Yeah, this is a good team. Number 3, Sangakkara, in brackets, Ponting and Dravid, unlucky to miss out. Number 4, Tendulkar, Lara, unlucky to miss out. And then
Lara.
I'm going to go 5 and 6, Callis and Steve Smith.
Okay. I love the Callis pick. Yeah, I can understand that one. Tendulkar and Sangakkara, you can't criticise that, can you, either? Ponting and Dravid and Lara, not bad for your second 11. Steve Smith, strange one, in my opinion. Just, he's all right. He's not a bad player. He's a strange-looking batsman, isn't he? But I suppose you've got to have somebody to do some jobs for you around the house, haven't you? You get the sandpaper out, prepare the walls for going to do some painting and decorating, maybe. So,
yeah,
no?
It's shaping up to be a decent team so far. Wicket keeper, Gilchrist. Spinner, Shane Warne.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Again, same again. Can't fault that.
No, there will be overlaps because some of these guys are just legendary status. Bowlers, Glenn McGrath and Wasim Akram, in brackets. Anderson a bit too swing dependent, not anywhere as good a lower order bat as what Wasim was.
No, I like that point because that's something I was thinking about when I was doing my bowlers as well. I wanted to make sure I love Wasim Akram anyway, and I wanted him in the team, but it just fits nice because he's a lower order batsman. He's almost an all-rounder, wasn't he? Really, really good batsman as well. So that's a solid choice, that is, as well, with Glenn McGrath as well. Warney, and what do we got? One more?
One more, and he's gone for a second spinner. He's gone with Murali as well.
Ooh, I like that. Murali and Shane Warne bowling in the same team in their heydays. Not over the hill IPLs or, kind of time or anything like that if they played, but properly in the heydays. Can you imagine that?
Yeah, I wouldn't score many runs.
Decent
I wouldn't score
team,
many
right?
runs anyway.
Decent team.
So, flicking down, we've got Sahel. Now, Sahel is a huge supporter of us on YouTube, comments on virtually every single thing we do. Legend of the podcast. I like his team. He has gone... I look at this and I'm like, there's a couple that's out there. Opening the batting, he's got Brendan McCullum and Verinder Sehwag.
No, he hasn't. He's got Baz McCullum.
He's got Baz McCullum. All right, Baz
McCullum. That. I'm a big fan of that. Right, it's like you when you used to make out you were mates with them.
Oh, Tommy Latham.
Mates with players. Tommy, yeah, exactly. No, that's pretty cool as well. Again, that's fireworks, isn't it? You want to make sure you're in the seat for the first ball.
Yeah, that's solid. Number 3, he's got the wall round Dravid. Number 4, Ponting. 5, Tendulkar. And Callis in the all-rounder slot at 6.
Love it. Yeah, can't go far wrong with that. Dravid, I'm glad he's found his way into a team because he's the sort of player that I would imagine is on a lot of people's favourites.
Yeah. This is an interesting one. Number 7, we've got Ashwin or Shane Watson, depending on conditions, whether you want 2 spinners or not.
I like it. He's thinking tactically. Yeah, why not? Love it. I mean, Ashwin, I can see why people would be fond of him, actually, because I didn't usually rate him that much earlier on in his career, but he's actually a really, really good cricketer. And there's something likeable about him. He seems a little bit, I don't know, he just seems quite laid back, doesn't he, in a lot of respects?
Yeah.
Maybe it's just the way he looks, the way he moves, but he doesn't look like he should be a sportsman either. He's not particularly, he's not an athlete, is he?
No, he's not.
But he's a damn good cricketer, so I really like that. As for Watson, yeah, why not? Good old Watto.
Watto. He'll be there for 50 in LBW. Don't worry about that.
No, 46.
46. Gilchrist keeping wicket. Very similar bowling attack as well, except we've got Glenn McGrath and Shoaib Akhtar going raw pace.
Oof, love it. Yeah.
And then Warney with the spin. So that's his all-time favourite 11. There's a lot of crossovers in a lot of these teams, but we are just about to mix it up a hell of a heap. So my Shamrock 1, 2, 3. He's put a bit of a Somerset flavour in my favourite 11. And of course, KOB as the token Irishman. Watching cricket since the early 2000s for reference. So opening up, he's got Marcus Trescothick and Justin Langer.
Nice, I like that a lot. Love Tresco. Justin Langer played down at Somerset, didn't he?
I'm sure he did. I'm sure he had a few years down at Somerset.
Yeah, love that. Yeah, Justin Langer, just my one and only moment with Justin Langer. He was in the queue for pies at the SCG when I went to see the Sydney Swans play. There you go.
Did you try and start a fight with him? I'm just putting it out there because apparently he's a black belt. I'm sure it was karate. He was a black belt in it, but he was a black belt in something. It's a bit late to give you advice, but just don't start on him.
Why would I have done that? Do I look like Ben Stokes?
I've had a couple of beers. I'm going to get all punchy. Do you know who I am? Flicking down the order, we've got Sachin Tendulkar at 3. We've got James Hildreth at number 4, the unluckiest man in England cricket at the moment, and Michael Clarke at 5. Yeah,
I really like that. I love the pick of Hildreth. He's the equivalent. If I was a Somerset fan, I'm sure that Hildreth would have been my Chris Reed. As it was, I'm the Notts boy, and Chris Reed's my absolute legend of a cricketer. So, really like that. Michael Clarke as well. If I could just not have known so much about Michael Clarke as a person, Clarke would have made my middle order. He was one of the nicest players to watch. I used to just love the way he played, especially the way he played spin. Great driver of the ball, but he used to use his feet so well. Just an exceptional player. He was the Ian Bell, wasn't he, of the Australian cricket team? Just really, really beautiful player to watch. So
yeah, great player to watch. I didn't like him as a person. My only experience with him was when I was working in India. I was in the same hotel as the Australian cricket team, and he kept refusing kids who were in the hotel to sign their cricket balls or anything like that in the hotel, and I just thought that was pretty average. Kicking down the order. Sorry,
maybe he couldn't write. Maybe he couldn't write. Maybe people were asking why he's only marking an X on the autograph sheet.
Yeah. Who's X? Who's X?
Just a thought. Yeah,
Michael
not
X.
mastered language.
Kevin O'Brien at number 6 and Craig Kieswetter, the keeper, at number 7.
First off, Kevin O'Brien. That's a token Irishman. No problem with that at all. He's been amazing, hasn't he, for the Irish cricket team and getting them to where they are today. So that's a good shout. I think he actually. Which ones? I always get them mixed up. Which one was the one at Notts? Was that Kevin O'Brien?
Kevin O'Brien
wasn't
played
it?
at Notts, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I like that shout. It's a really good one. And Kieswetter, that's a really, really good one. You kind of forget about him now, don't you? Because his career was cut short. That horrible injury, obviously, wasn't it? He got one in the face. But yeah, I wonder what he could have been. I never warmed massively to him when he was playing for England, but I think he was working his way back up, wasn't he? When he kind of the incident happened and he ended up having to couldn't really get back to his best again, so he retired. So I really like that pick actually. Yeah, good for you to get him in.
Yeah, good player, Keith. I remember him T20 cricket for England at the top of the order, banging out the runs with the ball. Yeah. I'm choosing the opening bowlers here. I'm going to say it's Stuart Broad and Andy Caddick.
Wow. Okay, yeah, I like that. There's nothing wrong with Andy Caddick. I think I actually gave him a little bit of an honourable mention, didn't I? Just talking about when you mentioned Angus Fraser, it made me think of Caddick. So, yeah, I like that one. Brody, why not?
Yeah, Brody there. Lasith Malinga as the spare seamer and Shane Warne as the spinner.
Awesome, like that team, really do. There's a few different names in there as well. That's another reason I like it.
Yeah, no, that's pretty awesome. Nicholas Alley's come and he's got a completely different sort of team. So opening up, we're going to have to roll the way back here. We've got Barry Richards and Len Hutton.
I've got this team in front of me. I've pre-prepared for this one because I've got. How old is Nicholas?
Well, we've got Sidney Barnes in the squad. He played.
How did he get this
1900s.
message to us? Did he send it on a telegram?
It must have been a carrier pigeon, mate. I feel this is more a best 11.
Yeah, this is just the awesome. Just roll straight through it, Rob. I think we just need to roll straight through it, 1 to 11, because this is awesome.
So we've got Richards, we've got Hutton, we've got Don Bradman at 3, George Headley at 4, Graham Pollock at 5, Garfield Sobers at 6, Clyde Walcott at 7, Sidney Barnes, JJ Ferris, George Lohman, and Bill O'Reilly as the 1 to 11, and probably, potentially stats-wise, some of the greatest players that's ever played.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. I mean, obviously Barry Richards, legend. Len Hutton, obviously, what a class act. Don Bradman, beautiful. Wouldn't it be amazing to have seen some of these players in the flesh? I mean, we certainly didn't get a chance to do that. I remember an uncle of mine who's not around anymore used to talk very fondly when I was quite young, talking about how he watched Bradman play at Trent Bridge back in the day. So that was something I would have loved to have seen. George Headley, I'm sure he was he the grandfather or the dad of Dean Headley, who played for England? But I think was it George Headley played for West Indies? I forget now, but I think one played for West Indies and then it was England, but I might have it wrong. Graham Pollock again, another South African, same as Richards, wasn't it? That in a different era, they would have probably been different, much bigger players, let's say. Yeah. Sobers, not legend. Yeah, and he played for West Indies. So, and then I struggle a little bit with some of these names. I might have heard of Sidney Barnes, JJ Ferris, and George Lohman. I've got to admit, I've never heard of them. And Bill O'Reilly, I think I've heard of him as well. So you've stumped us on that one, Nicholas. So that's an awesome team, and thanks for the telegraph.
Top list. And then last one down on the list, we've got Lee B's team, who's got, I'm just going to reel this off, I quite like this. We've got Tresco and Jaya Saria. We've got Ian Bell, Kane Williamson, Michael Clark, Flintoff, Gilchrist, Hoggard, Akhtar, McGrath, and Murali.
I've got no criticism of that team whatsoever. I really like that. Jaya Saria with his kind of curved bat.
Yes.
Whipping them over mid-wicket.
Yeah.
Bell, gorgeous. Kane Williamson, top player. Clark, totally understand that. And love that team. Really, really like the team. Hoggard, top bloke. Now there's a bloke, actually, if you actually put the character of the man, and who he is as a fellow, alongside his ability and his success, then That's a perfect player, isn't it?
It definitely is. And the last one, Dan, and I need to point a bit of fun at this. When we said give us your best 11, Harry Atkinson's given us 2 players, and we've got a pair of spinners going on here. So he's basically put down his favourite 2 players of all time. We've got Dennis Canaria, and we've got Robert Croft.
I've got no real response on this other than, can we have the other 9 players, Harry? Because I'm telling you, this is not going to be much use, because when one's bowling and one's keeping, who's fielding for him?
You're going to be going for quite a few runs here, mate. But interesting to us, Canary was a really good player for Pakistan for quite a while and played a bit of county cricket. I think, was he Somerset Canary? I can't remember now.
Essex, who played, I think, as well. I don't want to go too far down the road of Danish Canary, because wasn't he embroiled in a little bit of some dodginess at one point or other? I might be completely wrong, and if I am, I apologise. But
I don't know. I really don't know. But very, very interesting, guys. So thank you so much for sharing your teams with us.
Can we just quickly, Nicholas Ali as well, he sent one on email and one by telegraph, but the one on email was the ODI 11, which I've just got. Matty Hayden, opening with Tendulkar, Viv Richards at 3, Jacques Callis at 4, A.V. de Villiers at 5, Gilchrist behind the stumps, Lance Klusner smacking it out the ground, and then Richard Hadley, Joel Garner, Glenn McGrath and Murali. That's a team. That is a team. I obviously wasn't able to see the likes of Viv Richards and Hadley, and Joel Garner, but the rest, I saw them, but that's incredible. That's a hell of a team.
That's a hell of a team there. You don't mess with that.
No, not at all. So some awesome responses from people. I love some of those players, some of those 11s. Obviously, mine was better than everybody's. Don't know why I'm saying that. But yeah, that's awesome. I just love it that, it's the favourite 11s. It's the favourite players. It's not. I think that's more interesting as well than just trying to say your best 11, because your best 11 is a little bit more objective, isn't it? There's less sort of room for manoeuvre. But when it's your favourite, it doesn't matter who it is. You could have Keaton Jennings in there if you wanted.
Talking about Keaton Jennings, Rich. So we're going to go on, and the next podcast we're going to talk about what is going to be our all-time hated 11, the cricketers that we particularly don't like. Hate is a strong word.
Tough word.
It's a strong word. But if we're talking about Keaton Jennings, if it's a disliked 11, then potentially Keaton Jennings is going to find his way into my 11.
Oh, you said he was going to be the top run scorer this series, so now he's in your most disliked 11. Is that because he's let you down, or is it because you just made a bad decision at the start of this series?
I'll be honest, I feel like he's let me down personally.
Personally, I think it was just your bad judgment, your bad call at the start of the series. Don't blame it on Keaton. He's done his best. Leave him alone.
It is. So
no, that's probably too far from my side, actually. Well, yeah, do you know what? If you want to put him in there, that's fine. It's not a problem.
So what we want you guys to do, exactly the same as you've done with this all-time favourite 11, put us down the guys that you dislike the most, and it can be for any reasons. If I look at it, there was Richardson who used to open the batting for New Zealand. He always used to go out, bat at a 25 strike rate and average 50. I hated the guy because he was a good player and he batted really slow and we couldn't get him out. So he's probably going to be opening the batting for my all-time disliked 11.
Yeah, exactly. Let's have a bit of fun with it. There's always those people out there. And it might even be the ones that you love to hate, the ones you really respect as a player, as a batsman or a bowler. You thought they were unbelievable players, but at the same time, they were, to use a phrase I've already used, they just were massive dicks. They just weren't, they were just players you really did like to dislike. And it's just, let's mess about with it.
Yeah. Sounds great, Rich. I'm looking forward to hearing your teams. Again, there's a disparity between my team and your team in the favourite 11. I expect there to be different reasons why you pick players in your disliked team compared to my team, and I can 100% guarantee who's batting at 4 or 5 in your team. It will be Kevin Pietersen.
Yep, I've already typed him in. He's locked in. I'm going to build my team around him. That's how important he is to this 11.
Oh, I can't wait. As always, guys, thank you so much for listening. Make sure you check out the description below to help with Little Liam's fundraising campaign. Thank you so much for listening, guys. Until next time.